Yep.
Good evening and welcome to Leavenworth City Commission meeting for November the 8th, 2016. This evening we'll start the meeting with a pledge of allegiance followed by a moment of meditation. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This evening we have a couple of proclamations. Is a Miss DeFries? Welcome. Thank you. Excuse me. Whereas the history and culture of our great nation has been significantly influenced by American Indians and the indigenous people, and whereas contributions of American Indians have enhanced the freedom, prosperity, and greatness of America today, and their customs and traditions are respected and celebrated as part of a rich legacy throughout the United States. Native American Awareness Week began in 1976, and recognition was expanded by Congress and approved by President George Bush in August of 1990, designating the month of November as National American Indian Heritage Month. And in honor of National American Indian Heritage Month, community celebrations, as well as numerous cultural, artistic, educational, and historic activities have been planned. Now therefore I, Larry Dedeke, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, by virtue of this proclamation, urge all of our citizens to observe this month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities, and do hereby proclaim November 2016 be National American Indian Heritage Month. The mic is yours if you care to say a few things.
Well, just on behalf of the Captain Jesse Leavenworth Chapter National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, we're proud to partner with the City of Leavenworth in honor of America's indigenous people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wendy? Welcome. Whereas Small Business Saturday is a shop local campaign held on a Saturday following Thanksgiving to encourage reinvestment in small business across the country. And small business employees, over 55% of American workers either owning or working for a small business. And 87% of consumers in the United States agree that small businesses are critical to the overall economic health of the United States. And according to a research firm, Civic Economics, for every $100 spent at a local store, $68 stays within the community, while buying online shopping generates little or no benefit for the local economy. And whereas advocacy groups as well as public and private organizations across the country have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday, and the City of Leavenworth wishes to recognize the contributions that small businesses make to our community and local economy. Now therefore I, Larry Dedeke, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, do hereby proclaim November the 26th as Small Business Saturday. Megan, and the mic is yours. Excuse me.
Thank you. I'd just like to let the community know that we do have a tremendous amount of small businesses right here in Leavenworth and Lansing. To frequent them, they become your friends and really get to know them. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Under old business, the first item is consideration of previous minutes. Is there any corrections or additions? If not, I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the October 25, 2016 regular meeting minutes and the November 1, 2016 special meeting minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Begin voting, Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 Passes 5-0. Items tabled from previous meetings. Ferguson's second hotel development agreement. Paul?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commission. At the October 11th City Commission meeting, the Commission approved the framework of an amendment to the development agreement between the city and Ferguson Properties, whereby the date of authorization to pull a building permit for the second hotel project at 4th and Metropolitan could be moved forward from the existing date of October 1st, 2017. The city staff and John Ferguson and his team worked on an amendment, and we have one included below. I did want to mention that following the meeting, Ferguson Properties has requested a second amendment be considered by the commission. I'd like to consider that after we talk about the first one that was addressed at the October 11th meeting. So focusing on the first agreement, Commissioner Preisinger moved to amend the agreement with Ferguson Properties to pull a building permit after all site prep work is completed. So staff and the Ferguson team turned that into just a little more technical language that the developer has completed relocation of overhead utilities as detailed on the site plan and submitted complete plans in compliance with the city-state regulations, including all land disturbance permitting and any Kansas Department of Transportation traffic report requirements for the issuance of a building permit. And the city shall issue that building permit upon such plans being fully approved by city staff. So we just took that sentiment and turned it into what we would require. One thing that Carla, our city clerk, did notify me of this afternoon is Commissioner Preisinger's original motion included that, but said 30 days after. If you'll look at the proposed language that we have in there, it says immediately. So that's our fault. We were focusing on the language of the site prep, the overhead utilities, land disturbance permit, and immediately is in there. Commissioner Preisinger's motion did say 30 days after that happened, so that's something you can choose tonight if you want to go with the original 30 days after that, or if you want to go with immediately upon all those conditions being met. So I apologize for that problem.
Commissioner Preisinger, what's your feelings?
I have no problem with the immediate as long as it, no sooner than March 1st, 2017.
Yes, and we did include that. We did
Yeah.
include that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I kind of said within 30 days, to give us time to
Right.
work it. No, I would go immediate
Okay.
is fine with me, as long as it's no sooner than March 1st, 2017.
And all the conditions are met. That
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
Is there any other thoughts or considerations?
Sounds good to me.
No, yeah, I originally abstained for the original agreement, but I'm not going to stand in the way of what everybody agrees with here.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the amendment number 1, is it, to the, what is this?
Development agreement.
To the development agreement with Ferguson Properties, as stated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Begin voting, Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
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 That passes 5-0.
The second amendment, in the course of finalizing the change to the start date, John and his team requested that the timing of the third and final incentive payment be adjusted. The existing agreement says that the developer has poured the required foundations for the hotel in preparation for vertical construction. At that point, the city shall approve the final requisition of cost payment for the final 50% of the incentive, which is $425,000. The revised proposal from Ferguson came in and ties that final payment to an approved site plan and started construction on the underground detention, changing essentially the building footings for the work on the underground detention. We have no way of knowing how much that would move up the payment. We don't have the civil engineering for John to know how he's going to phase it or plan it. So there's no way that staff could figure out or give you an idea of that moves it up a month, 6 months. It just depends on how he moves through the project. So John's here to talk about that
Right.
request.
What,
John?
that's just an afterthought, and was thinking about it. It's sort of like double jeopardy for me, because I'm going to put several $100,000 into the site detention, the underground utility relocation, the dirt work, and everything else that I'm doing out there. And to this point, I've already released contracts with engineers to design that. It's going to take a few weeks to do it. What I'd really like to do is give my banker first deed of trust on the property. And I figured that I am putting significant dollars, several $100,000 into the improvements that were presented by you all last week and that I agreed to. So that's really all I'm trying to do is substitute one expenditure for another expenditure and allow me to get the ground free and clear.
Any thoughts, Commissioner? Lisa, anything?
You want them to have first lien on the property, or they would prefer first?
Well, I'm going to borrow several $100,000. I'm going to get my commitment. I've got my loan commitment. I have everything in place. They got to file in order to be able to fund. And so what I'm trying to do is get that condition out of the way, because they understand all the other conditions that I've agreed to. And those are in the normal course of business for me, because I do the plan for the underground detention, I do the plan for the utility relocation, and I've already paid my fees to AT&T, so that all they got to do is move in and put their utility underground. And that's really what I'm trying to do, is be able to access my money.
Okay, Paul, when we asked that we received an improved site plan and recommended that construction vertical construction, what would be missing? Would it just be the foundation that's missing under his requested amendment?
If I remember correctly from the discussion, the reason it was tied to the concrete footings of the hotel was that up until that point, the city was at risk of the first half of the incentive, $425,000. And in order to grant that second half, the concrete footings were the assurance that a hotel was going to be built.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, if the city was to move it up and Mr. Ferguson got approved site plan to build his underground detention, he would have received the entire incentive, and he could at that point choose not to build a hotel. Now again, hypothetical, but that was the emphasis on putting it to the concrete footings, because at that point you could almost be assured that a structure was going to be built there.
Right.
May I make one comment? In my commitment to an agreement to get a approved site plan that would be approved by the city, at that point, I'm all in. At that point, I got well over $1 million in this deal. And so that's why, one of the reasons is because I'm making that commitment that I'm not going to be able to start before March 1st. But in order to start March 1st, I've got to commit hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm just trying to get in a position with my bank to make them feel comfortable too. That's all.
An approved site plan, though, could still be done without any construction done.
Sure. Yeah. And I'm not making a judgment either way. I'm just expressing why it was
Why we did
originally
that,
tied to the
yeah.
foundation.
Remember when we discussed that?
Nancy, you have anything?
No, I was a little confused about it at first, but the reason was to actually show that the construction was actually starting. And we've had trouble with that before, right? I mean, isn't that part of, haven't we had trouble with that before?
Well, I don't think we have. Nothing
It was the
this
uniqueness
size.
of the site that we were concerned about, was all tied into why we did it with a concrete foundation.
Right.
Okay.
Well, personally, I don't have a problem with it. I think John is a man of his word. He's proved to me his integrity. He has a sizable investment there now in his existing hotel,
Yeah.
let alone what he anticipates of building. So, and he's been fairly reasonable to work with. So, I would suggest that we would approve it, but I want to hear from everybody else. sir.
I personally have no problem moving the payment up. I do question the not knowing when. That's the one thing that kind of bothers me about it. I wish we had a little more nailed down on when approximately the payment would be made. But as far as the actual agreement to move the payment, to what you're suggesting, I don't have a problem with that.
I believe they're working on their civil right now.
Right.
We don't-
And at that point, we'll start the underground detention as soon as we get the civil done and the bids out.
Mark?
As you know, Mr. Ferguson, the contract is between two parties for the mutual benefit of both parties. We had this contract in place stating that we'd give the $425,000, the first $425,000 once everything's cleared, et cetera, which we're holding to. Now late in the game, you're asking for another $425,000 a little bit sooner. And back to the point of being to the mutual benefit of both parties, there's no benefit to us. We lose some money on interest or bond or whatever it might be. We lose some cash on it. It does not, the hypothetical can come into play. Things may slow down. It might be 8 months before you start. I can remember the first one. We broke ground in January and we thought we were going to start right away. It was 6, 7 months, and we put all the money in. We kept asking, where's it going to go? Where's it going to go? And it did take a while. And to your point that you brought at the last meeting, you said once you get all the site prep done, the houses torn down, and you'd be ready to start building March 1st. And I still think that's a pretty aggressive date, but I hope that you can do that. And as soon as those footings are poured, we drop another $425,000 on you, and it's almost immediate. And I also know, being a businessman, if I've got an agreement with a government entity that here's the plan for $425,000, the bankers are going to say that's good money. We know you're going to get it. So I'm for, let's keep it as is, and once you pour the footings, then we go and we'll pay it right away. I mean, that's what our agreement is, and I think that's what we should stick to, because we have no protection. I'm not saying that you're going to run off with the money or do anything. I'm not saying that at all, but I think I have a responsibility to the citizens and taxpayers of Leavenworth to protect that money. And I'm hoping that we can write you a check or give you that bond money on March 2nd, 2017. And I think it's fair for both sides, because it will be immediate. Once you have all the site work done, pour the footings, bang, we give you the money. It'd be very quick. And if you lose interest, let's say you lose interest for 2 weeks on $425,000 at 4%, 1/26 of, 4% for a year, 16,000, 1/26 of that. We're talking less than $1,000 in interest.
Mine is not the interest, Kerry, but may I make just one, and I'm not meaning to argue with you.
Yeah, no,
We broke
please
ground,
do. I don't
I think
care.
we broke ground in June or July,
Right.
not January. And if you remember,
We had the groundbreaking.
We had a groundbreaking because that's when the dirt work got done, and in fact, we were still taking houses down at the time. And the other thing was, I came and told you that we were building a brand-new prototype with Marriott.
Right.
Because you called me before because you were not happy because I hadn't started. And I told you that I had 3 bosses at the time.
I understand.
Marriott, you, and my partners. And Marriott was busy redesigning the hotel as we were trying to build it. And so that was, I'm not going to make excuses. They take a long time. They take 10 months, sometimes 11 months to get constructed. And I just don't want double jeopardy. And I know that maybe I could make 0.25% interest on that much money, or I don't know what your interest rate is that you're earning on your money today, but it would free me up. I'm not trying to pull a wool.
No, I don't.
I'm already committed. I'm just trying to make it easier for those people that are trusting in me on the lender side, as well as you all who are trusting me to go ahead and build it.
When you show your lenders this agreement, surely they don't poo-poo it and say, well, that's not worth the paper, ink.
They're still a second position.
I'm sorry?
They're still in a second position. It has nothing to do with whether they disagree with the position that it's going to get paid. They're still in the second position. It's not a position that they want to be in necessarily. It's not one that I want them to be in. And I don't know. It's hard for me to explain that by putting the footers in, we may be running my costs up, my exposure up to $2 to $3 million here.
But we also knew that going in, and when we negotiated this agreement and renegotiated it with you a couple times, we knew all that going in, and you knew all that going in. And we're definitely in agreement. We had a handshake and a signed agreement on that. And you know, last time we did move up your bill date, and I'm glad that we did, because the other hotels haven't performed as well as we thought they would. We've lost some revenue, and so we're giving you the chance to make that up. But I still feel that I've got a responsibility to the taxpayers of Leavenworth to ensure that those footings get, that the hotel goes. Hypothetically, and which I don't think that you would do, Mr. Ferguson, I have full faith in you, but hypothetically, you could do the site work, we give you $425,000, you could sell off that land to 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven wouldn't buy it, but I mean, you could, and I mean, you'd own the land and you could do with it as you please. Once you, for the footings, you are 100% locked in, and I'm not saying you're not locked in now, but I just think it's proper that we hold on to the current agreement we have, and I don't think it will stop you at all, because if it goes according to the plan that you presented us, you're probably going to get your extra $425,000 March 2nd. So I don't see this delaying anything if you stick with your plan as you presented to us.
We aren't going to get footers poured by March 1st or by March 2nd.
Well, you
would be able
told
to
us
start.
last time that you could start building on March 1st. When
So
you want to move up.
I would be ready to build it. That depends really on the weather. There's a lot of conditions. Like you said, you don't think I can actually make it, but you were willing to give me that much rope to hang myself with.
No, I'm not, I don't want you to hang yourself at all.
But I mean, understand that I have already committed to Marriott. I can't walk away from this contract.
I understand that. I understand that, but I have a commitment to the taxpayers here on when we release the money. And I am not questioning your integrity or your willingness to go forward, but I think this is for a contract being for the mutual benefit of both parties involved, I think that we should hold on to this. That's my opinion, but obviously, I think possibly the commission may have a different opinion.
Okay.
And I'm not mistrusting you at all, Mr. Ferguson. The properties you build are outstanding. I'm looking forward to this one being built, and I hope it starts on March 2nd.
Any other debate? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we do not approve the agreement to Amendment 2 as proposed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Begin voting, Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
Aye.
No?
No.
Aye.
Passes 3-2. Second consideration ordinances. Second consideration ordinance 8017 is for a special use permit, child care center.
I don't believe this item has changed from first consideration.
The action on this is a roll call. Mr. Preisinger?
Aye.
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 That passes 5-0. Second consideration ordinance 8018, consideration of ordinances.
Again, this one has not changed. Sticking with 2 readings of ordinances.
Roll call, begin with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 That passes 5-0. Under new business is citizen participation. This is for items that are not listed on the agenda or receipt of petitions. Yes, ma'am. State your name, please, when you...
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, and ladies and gentlemen of the City Commission. My name is Amy Phillips. I am here this evening because I am a concerned citizen for parents of Leavenworth County, and I am also here on behalf of our children. I'm here to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to lower the late fee charges, which I feel are penalties that are imposed to myself and other parents who want to sign their children up for youth basketball at Leavenworth Parks and Recreation. The mission statement of the Parks and Recreation Department is the following: to enhance the vitality of our community by promoting healthy lifestyles and enriching Leavenworth's unique character with our Parks and Recreation. It's a great mission statement, but I fear the spirit of the mission has been lost. Parents are being charged high late fees, $25 and $50 to be exact, for the youth basketball program. Is this really enhancing the vitality of our community? I understand the need for deadlines and can even support a minimal late fee. But charging fees that are 2.5 and 5 times higher than our next door neighbors in Lansing is an undue hardship on hardworking parents like myself and many others. I have some signatures that I collected of these concerned parents. I have them right here, and there are plenty more where that came from. These high late fees act as a barrier to parents. The Parks and Recreation Department wants to promote healthy lifestyles, but if parents can't afford to sign their children up for basketball and other sports, how is this helping anyone? Youth sports was meant to be accessible, a safe place for our children to play, have fun, and be part of a team. The Leavenworth Parks and Recreation seems to be more concerned with making money than enriching Leavenworth's unique character. One very unique character of our community is the high rate of military families, being one of them, very proud wife of an active duty soldier. We make up a large percentage of the community, yet our schools, USD 207, do not get the courtesy of the information needed to sign up our children for basketball or any other sports. Nor do we get any special consideration, like an active duty service discount or a multi-child discount. In fact, there's not a multi-child discount available for anybody. The Leavenworth Parks and Recreation Department needs to improve its communication. The website and Facebook pages, which many of us rely on for information, has no information about youth basketball, the fees, or deadlines. There's also no option to pay online. It's 2016. This is how all of us do our business. And once again, our neighbors in Lansing have surpassed us in both the information flow and convenience of their Parks and Recreation Department. If it were easier to pay, I might not have to be here speaking to you all this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not asking for much. The citizens of Leavenworth deserve to pay a fair fee in order for their children to play sports. Isn't that what the Parks and Recreation Department is for? Please lower the late fees imposed upon us parents so that we may continue to support our children as they grow and become an important part of Leavenworth's future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
If
you.
you would give your name and a phone number that you can be reached at to the
Yes.
clerk.
Amy Phillips, spelled AIMEEPHILLIPS.
We're being televised, you may not want to give your phone number.
Yeah, we are on live TV.
Give it to her.
Okay.
Ms. Phillips, quick question. How much does it cost to register for basketball, regular fee?
Regular fee is $40, sir,
Yeah.
which is a fair fee.
If, I mean, you, as you stated, you do understand the need for punctuality, that, I mean, they have to make their plans.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking out loud, what if it was a $10 late fee for the first 5 days, and after 5 days it's $25? Something like that, because there's jumping through hoops that have to occur by all the coaches, by, you know, if the deadline's November 1st, I'm grabbing a date, I have no idea what the deadline is. And, you know, they start distributing out all the teams and get the coaches signed up, get uniforms ordered, whatever they do. And then November 10th, someone comes in to, you know, Poindexter needs to play, and, you know, they gotta go back and order one more uniform.
Sure.
And then don't get the group rate, you know, just the, working all that in. Are you proposing there's no late fee?
No, sir, and in fact, I said that I would support a minimal late fee. I just don't support a $25 late fee. You have a city of Lansing, they're right next door. I could take my children there, but I choose not to. This is where I live. This is where I work.
Understand.
Right.
So I want my children to play here, but $25, that's an undue hardship on parents. We already have to pay the 40, and if I go in on October 15th, I could pay 40, but something happened. Something happens every day in our lives. So why should I have to pay 65 on October 16th? And not only is it $25, sir, after October 31st, it's 50. So yes, so Poindexter decides, oh, Mom, darn it, I missed it, I want to play. Those parents have to pay $90 for 2 months of youth basketball.
So, Mr. Mayor, since we can't take action on this, but
Right.
I would be willing to look at it, and why don't we bring this back?
Well,
It's a
that's why
fair
I asked-
We need to
request.
Asked for a
talk to-
way to get in contact.
Yeah.
We need to bring Parks and Rec
We're-
in and
yeah,
Yeah.
we
have
need
a study
to
session
have
and
our
notify Ms.
manager talk.
Phillips when that is so she can participate.
That'd be great.
In that discussion.
Yeah, thank you. I've already met with Mr. Medill and Mr. Grant. We've
Right.
already had a meeting.
Okay.
Okay, but we'll have another one.
Fantastic.
Okay,
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Is there anyone else on citizen participation? If not, I'll close that item. We'll move into number 6, quarterly payment to Leavenworth County Development Corporation.
Mr. Mayor and Commission, the Leavenworth County Development Corporation made their quarterly report to the City Commission, and based on the positive report delivered to the Commission, I would recommend releasing the payment for the third quarter in the amount of $11,848.50.
Any questions or concerns by the commission?
No.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pay the quarterly payment to Leavenworth County Development Corporation not to exceed $11,848.50.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Begin voting, Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
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 That passes 5-0. Item number 7 is to approve a tourism grant fund program.
Taylor. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Taylor Tucker, your Assistant City Manager here. We have before you the approval of the proposed tourism grant program. We did bring that to your October 18th study session. We distributed it to area attractions, nonprofit organizations, and we also posted it on the website so anyone could provide feedback on how the program's laid out. We had some initial feedback from a couple organizations that are really excited to turn in an application, and I think one of them already filled it out. So other than that, we haven't heard anything, so I'm here to hear if you have any changes. If not, we're asking for your approval.
Any questions by the commission?
No.
Nope.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the Tourism Grant Fund Program with $20,000 in funding provided by the 2017 transient guest tax as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Begin voting with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 Passes 5-0. Thank you, sir. Resolutions, B 2152, support for low-income housing tax credits.
Mr. Mayor and Commission, Cornerstone Associates LLC recently approached the Leavenworth Public Housing Authority. Tonight you'll be acting as the Leavenworth Public Housing Authority Board in regards to a letter of support and an application to the Kansas Housing Resources Corp. for low-income housing tax credits for a project yet to be determined location in the city of Leavenworth. Cornerstones has been here before. They've done a project in Baser, and the commission approved that resolution for their application. We do have representatives tonight from Cornerstones to talk about the project and answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions from the commission, or would you like to make a short presentation? or-
I can make a short presentation, answer any
That'd
questions
be great
anybody
if you
has. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commission. Bobby Lucas with Cornerstone Associates out of Omaha, Nebraska. And as Mr. Kramer stated, I was here 2 years ago asking for the same resolution to submit an application to the Kansas Housing Resource Corporation for a project that we are now building in Baser. What I'm proposing or requesting is the same resolution, asking for your consent to allow us to submit an application to the Kansas Housing Resource Corporation for a similar project to be located within the city limits of Leavenworth. As Mr. Kramer had mentioned, we are still looking for site. We have a couple sites in mind, so this is not site-specific. It's simply just asking for permission in order to submit an application for the tax credits.
You have me a little bit confused. Why would we give you a resolution for Baser?
Because it's in Leavenworth County.
We're the
and
housing authority.
Oh,
The
okay, for
housing
county.
authority.
Okay, I was thinking
Yeah,
commission.
yeah.
My apologies.
No, that's fine.
Okay. Is there any questions?
No.
Is there a
Ms.
mo-
Phillips, the property that you have listed here is between Advanced Auto Parts going west up to the old Walmart. A portion of that is that directly west of the Advanced Auto Parts is their property, I believe, and the old Walmart parking lot, which is very large. So that would be, the people that bought the Walmart don't own that whole parking lot? Or would
Actually, they do, and this was information that I sent to Mr. Irvine, who happens to own that particular
Okay.
site, and I should have removed that before it was presented here. I have made contact with Mr. Irvine. He owns the Walmart, the
Right.
old Walmart, and all of the parking lot, and quite a bit of that is unused space. Right now, it's being used for a car dealership for storage.
Correct.
However, my interest in that is because it would be a great location to provide senior housing. Simply being close to the hospital, close to all the services, a lot of items that would be within walking distance for that matter. And so I wanted to meet with him and see if he had an interest. But I understand that, again, everything would have to go through city approval process because it's not zoned properly anyhow. So that's why right now I'm not asking for anything site-specific.
Okay.
Mr. Irvine hasn't even consented at this point. It was just an idea, a thought, and so
Okay.
I opened up that discussion with him. But there are several other sites that we are contemplating as well.
How big a footprint do you need?
Generally, 4 acres gives us a fair amount of green space and allows us to provide an ample amount of garages.
Is that parking lot 175,000 square feet?
It's larger than that.
I mean, he'd still have to keep some, though.
Oh, yeah, he'll still have ample amount of parking.
Okay. But once again, you're saying that's not necessarily the spot.
Right,
You're here for a
right.
different purpose.
You know, my
Okay.
interest is that's part of your targeted redevelopment area
Yeah.
over in there, and I think however many years that may get redeveloped, I would like to be a part of that. And so maybe if we can help kickstart some of that in there, and, yeah.
Okay, if there's
Thank
no additional questions, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution B 2152, support the low-income housing tax credit application.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Begin voting. Commissioner Weekly?
Aye.
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 Passes 5-0.
Thank you
ma'am.
very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Resolution B 2153, set public hearing for EQH Leavenworth Downtown Hotel.
Carla?
Yeah, this resolution sets the public hearing for the creation of a Community Improvement District, CID, for the Downtown Hotel Improvement District. Just to go over a couple of points, on October 5th, 2016, a petition was filed and signed by EQH Leavenworth LLC and submitted to the city clerk's office proposing the creation of the CID. The Downtown Hotel Improvement District would be located at 101 South 3rd Street. The petition requires that the city, requests that the city levy a CID sales tax in the Downtown Hotel Improvement District. The CID tax would be imposed on selling of tangible personal property at retail or rendering of services. The CID would be in any increment of 0.10% or 0.25%, but not to exceed 2%. The resolution would be published once each week for 2 consecutive weeks. Copies of the resolution will be mailed, certified mail, to all the each owner of land in the proposed CID area, and the public hearing would be set for December 13th. Following the hearing, then the City Commission would approve an ordinance and then a second reading of it to adopt the ordinance if it were approved. So this would just set the public hearing for December 13th.
Is there any questions by the commission?
Just a quick point of information, CID would only be for that square block, whatever it is, where the hotel is. It doesn't affect the businesses to the south of it or to the west of it or anything.
Correct. It's
Okay.
just within
It's just for
that.
that day one of CID.
That's why the legal description is included.
Yeah.
Okay, Okay, if there's no additional questions, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution B 2153 to set the public hearing date for the Leavenworth Downtown Hotel.
Second.
Okay, do we have a date?
December 3rd,
December 13th.
Oh,
13th.
12/13, okay. We have a motion and a second. Begin voting, Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 That passes 5-0. Item number 10 is the consideration of proposed business industrial park cost.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor and Commission, the Commission has already provided unanimous consensus at a study session for the cost presented of the industrial park, including all the amendments. Subsequent to that, the County Commission has voted to also unanimously approve all the costs, including the add-ons for the new business and technology park. While not completely necessary, they've asked that we approve it in a regular meeting. So I agree that as a partner in the project, that would be fine. So I'm asking you tonight to approve the cost with all the add-ons as presented at the November 1st study session, keeping in mind that this is going to come back again as part of the finalized interlocal agreement.
Any questions? Not, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the proposed business industrial park cost in the amount that's presented to us at $9,643,885 to date.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Begin voting, Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
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 That passes 5-0. Consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to submit the claims for October 22nd, 2016 through November 4th, 2016 in the amount of $1,062,026.99. Net amount paid for number 22, effective October 28, 2016, in the amount of $305,404.25, including fire and police pension, in the amount of $11,232.85.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Begin voting, Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 That passes 5-0. Is there any concerns of the commission?
No, sir.
Got just a couple things. One, I think it's my duty as the veteran on the commission to wish everyone a happy Veterans Day, all the veterans a happy Veterans Day this Friday. Once again, the parade is Friday, and obviously one of the largest ones, from what I understand, the second largest one in the United States, or the largest one west of Mississippi. And I think it's going to be a nice day, and thank you for your service and welcome home. Next point is, obviously, the polls have closed 45 minutes ago, and I just hope that whoever's elected, the winners are gracious, the losers are gracious, that we start working together for the good of the state, for the good of the country. We need leaders that can unite us, not divide us, and I hope we can get that accomplished. That's all I have.
I concur on all your thoughts. I think the commission does
Yes.
as a total. Does anyone else have anything?
No, sir.
Paul?
Just want to get home to see those results.
Mr. Tom?
Nothing.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Again, Commissioner Preisinger?
Aye.
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 We are adjourned.